Hi, and welcome back to I Shouldn't Say This, but my name is Katie Leeson, and I am back here in the most beautiful Mollies. Thank you to We Are the Allies who sponsor this episode as well. I'm going to do a little bit of a catch up on what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks. Well, let's do an intro to you first, actually, because otherwise people won't know who you are. So I'm sat in this beautiful space, but also someone who's made this possible is Stefan from the club. So Stefan, I want him more involved so we can have a chat. So I'm not just monologuing at you all. Hi, Stefan. I could look at you, but I'm going to look at the camera so everyone knows what I'm doing. But yeah, I think for us to have a chat, you'll get loads more out of me and the episode will be so much better. So
Yes. So tell me, Katie, what's been happening since we sat down on the 18th of May?
it was the 18th of May. So it was
the
the day after my birthday. We recorded 4 episodes, and then I've just done some social posts about it. I feel like I'm so in the flow of my business now. I'm not forcing it. I'm not overstressing. So before we recorded, I'd had a session with my business coach to really figure out what I wanted to do. And this year I really had set my mindset on making this into a business. Previously, when I'd gone out on my own, I'd kind of had it in my head that I was just going to be self-employed and see what happened. But sitting down with my business coach, I've been like, right, okay, I can actually make Katie into a business, which is super exciting. It gives me a bit more focus as well. So I'm not just dotting around from opportunity to opportunity. And since nailing that really into a structure and a goal, the opportunities have just come in. And some of which I can't tell you about yet, but some I can. Like starting the podcast back has just been a dream.
Let's pause on that then, because we said about recording a month ago. It was your first time back recording. How did you feel once you'd left that last recording that we did?
After the last recording day, I was tired. I was really tired. And I was nervous about how I'd come across. I think mainly because it had been so long since I'd done it. But it felt really natural, and it feels really natural. Today I feel loads better because we've done that first round. And we've just had a really good guest in as one of the episodes. I think the guest episode with Kelly was just... yeah, I knew it was a good conversation, so I got real energy from that. I'm happy. I'm really happy. I'm really happy.
And yeah, so you're on the event side of things. You've messaged me a couple of times to say you've been doing talks and you've had some ideas for future episodes within this. How have the talks gone?
Talks have been really good. I've been kept very busy by my speaker agency champions. And I'm trying now to listen to the questions that I get at the end. A lot of my talks have been on imposter syndrome, which is obviously a topic that I am known for now. And some of the stuff that's come off the back of the talks have really got my mind whirring on ways that I think I can help people, which is my ultimate why anyway. If I can share my experience to help other people, I'm fulfilling my mission. And one this week, I've done two back to back this week. One that I did for empowering women in fleet for Bauer Media in Milton Keynes. The question I did my usual talk, and then I stayed for the round table after, which was an hour of just discussing around imposter syndrome. And one of the questions that was asked was, how do you spot it in your team? And I was like, I've not actually ever thought of that from that point of view. Whenever I've thought or talked about imposter syndrome, it's been from my own lived experience of it and how it's impacted me. But as a leader, wouldn't it be amazing if we can identify how to spot it in our team and how to have those honest conversations around imposter syndrome? And quite often, because I obviously, that stuck in my mind, and then I obviously went away and wrote a full Substack on it because I couldn't sit and wait on it. And it's things like stuff you wouldn't normally recognise as anxiety or imposter syndrome necessarily. So people who are over preparing, people who are doing too much, people who look like they're really busy, could be suffering from imposter syndrome. And I think being able to lead conversations in that, I'm really proud of, actually.
Was that a business owner that asked you that question?
It was, yeah. Well, it was the founder of, or the guy that ran the Empowering Women in Fleet group. So it was an angle I'd not considered before, but something I'm definitely going to delve into more. And I might even add that into my talks as well now, because it's fine to recognise it in yourself. 75% of successful people suffer with it. And I talked in the previous solo episode about how when you progress in your career, it gets louder. But from a leadership perspective and being a really good leader, if you're someone who can recognise it and have conversations with your team about it, I think it'll level everyone up.
It's nice with the podcast that you've got that balance now of, sitting down like you are now. You've got the solos and the things to share, the topics that come from your talks. But I'm hoping, obviously, during that time for the podcast, that the people that will be on board of that as well, there'll be people that you'll meet that could be potential guests.
Yes.
Potential listeners for these topics.
Yeah. So. I mean, I'm pushing it. You'll be proud. I'm like, every time I'm saying, I used to have a podcast, I brought it back. And it's like remembering to like promote the podcast as well. But
you've got to do that every day.
I know, I do have to do it every day. I promise I will, I promise.
It's a morning mantra now.
Yeah. I have a podcast. Yeah, I'm trying to think what other talks I've done, because I've done a few. Yesterday I did one that was more around my journey and linking it to imposter syndrome, knowing your values and knowing who you are so you can build a life that's aligned with your values. I'm big on personal values, and I always start my coaching with personal values because I think it's really important to know yourself. When I got to that almost burnout, if not burnout at Social Chain, it wasn't because of the work, it wasn't because of the speed, it wasn't because of the clients, it was because I didn't know who I was. And I wasn't living a life that was aligned with my values, which are basically your motivators, which means that I was draining my energy rather than doing the things that gave me energy. And that's really where I've recognised over time personal values are so important in day to day. So that's what I've done recently as well. I went to my absolute favourite, Charlotte Tilbury. So I did my talk with Charlotte Tilbury, and then I went back to go and do a bit more of an in-depth coaching consultancy session with their management team. Absolute dream just being around all that makeup. It's just fascinating. But one of the things that I got a bit emotional in the session myself is because we did the personal value session and each manager worked on their values. And then I said, one of the questions that I posed was, think of a member of your team at the moment who you think might really benefit or you think might not be living against their values. And that's why you're struggling to motivate them. And the way that they were talking was, they're now thinking about how to build out objective settings, how to do OKRs, how to set job descriptions, how to hire, how to build project teams around people depending on their values and making sure they've got the right people in the right places. And I got a bit emotional because it's something I'm so personally passionate about. And I think it'd change the landscape of how we all work if we operated in that way. So the thought of such a big business potentially taking that on and building out how they develop people and how they develop projects and how they develop teams with that work that I'm so passionate about.
Well, obviously, just in case this episode comes out before, we won't say who the guest was, but we had a conversation about things that we're doing outside of work that benefits us.
Yes.
Without saying too much again.
Yes.
We speak a lot about work.
We do.
What are the things when you're feeling that burnout from you? Let's go TV shows, music, going for a walk, those kind of things. What do you find beneficial to do outside of work that really fuels your career?
Yeah, fills my cup back up, builds my energy back up. The things that I do that fill my energy back up it's really, and with the guests we were just talking to, we were talking about the basics, and it's just the obvious stuff, and it's really annoying, isn't it? But Fozzie is my little angel. Just taking him for a walk, getting out in nature, getting our steps in, watching him run around. I practice gratitude every morning and every night. So I've now got a manifestation book that I'm trying to journal in. But in the evening, I write down 3 things that I'm grateful for, 3 things that went well. And I try and live my life like that, because I feel like good energy breeds good energy, right? And if I'm grateful for what I've got, then more good will come. So not necessarily a thing to watch or a thing, but more of a mindset. I try and be really grateful. And then in exercise, it's annoying, but it works. So I did a fitness comp with my PT a few weeks ago. Hardest thing I've ever done, the Girl Games. So well organised, so well run, really, really hard. I managed to deadlift a 100 kg bar. 100 kg? Thank you. It's nearly double my weight. It was so heavy. The hardest thing I've ever done. And I've not trained properly since that, and I need to get back into it, because I know I'm noticing myself not feeling my energy levels at the same thing.
Well, there's something there though, right? Hardest thing you've ever done. We should all be aspiring to that, right?
Yeah, and the reason that I did it is because I wanted to see what my body could do. I wanted to see if I knuckled down what I could actually achieve. So that's why I did it. I didn't do it for winning the competition or beating someone else. I just wanted to do it for me. And I've been on a little bit of a journey about that. What can I do to give myself a bit of self-love rather than everyone else? And yeah, it was really, really hard. I don't think I'll ever do it again. But the training part of it was good. Yeah, tick that box. But the training part was really good, because the training part meant that I had a bit of discipline and focus on working out. So I felt really good. So I need to get back into that. And then in terms of watching stuff, well, the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders are back on Netflix, and I absolutely love that program. I'm like, wow, how do they get their legs so high? So it's things like that I love to watch. I've got into Love Island again this year, which I'm not. That's unusual. So yeah, it's like things that help me switch my brain off a little bit about real people, but not in an in-depth way. I'm not great with emotional stuff, so I can't sit and watch any tear-jerkers or...
Horrors?
No, absolutely not. I remember years ago I watched one of the first Luthers, and there was a man under...
great.
Do you remember the episode with the man under the bed?
Oh, I do remember that.
My bed now has got drawers underneath it because I was so scared of the man under the bed.
That's the reason why.
Oh my God, yeah, because it was petrifying. So yeah, I try and give myself a little bit of space sometimes, just to...
It's needed.
Yeah.
Because this podcast and the conversations in it is all very career, all very work. And that's great. I think on these solo episodes, I want the opportunity sometimes to learn a little bit more about you and what, should we say, the human side?
Well, I talk so much about blend.
Exactly.
Don't I? And
we
work-life blend.
Bit, can't we? So
yeah.
Work-life blend for you. We've just gone into that a bit. It is gratitude, it is working hard, but sometimes it also is Love Island, and it is... You have to have those moments. I don't believe that it doesn't exist. You can't be 100% all the time, all about your career, all of this. I struggle to see it anyway, that you have to have that switch off sometimes, however it looks.
You need play as well. I was listening to I can't remember what book it was, but it was saying to make us fundamentally happy as humans, we also need that element of fun and play. And people who know me and get close to me know that I am inherently a bit silly. I love a little bit of silliness, and I love to let loose. And
we can add a silly solo episode, is that?
We could add silly solo episodes. But I think that I did a post about chasing memories over sleep scores. The point for me is more like I see it so much now in culture where we are self-monitoring, we are optimizing everything, we're watching every little detail of what the Apple Watch says, what that sort of like optimization of our life. But I get the most joy when and my best memories have come from when I've done something really fun, silly, might have had a few glasses of wine. That I don't think
quite anxiety driven, right? By waking up and thinking, I mean, I do it, but it doesn't bother me too much. If I could get a rubbish sleep, I don't think my day's ruined now.
But people do.
Yeah.
People use those scores and think, oh my
They're
God,
the
I
people
can't.
that shouldn't be having those tools, really.
Yeah, but also like just letting go a little bit. I don't want to get to being 80, 90, 100, whatever I get to.
Episode 1000.
Still sat in this chair. I don't want to get to that and not look back on my life and think I was so controlled. I don't want to be that, because they're not going to be the best memories. That control piece, it scares the life out of me. So yeah, I did a post on that about I'm here to collect memories, not sleep scores. And yeah, I will go on holiday and I'll dance on a chair and I'll just bounce around, and they're my favourite times, to be honest.
Is this where we add clips of you?
I do have some, but they're saved, and I don't know if I'm ready for the world to see it because I don't want to look back on it. That's the other thing as well. Like, I'm not that bothered about looking back on them. Like I'll be in the moment and I'll just absolutely have the best time ever.
Where did that switch come in though? Because have you always been like that?
Always been like that.
Okay.
I've always been like that. My dad is incredibly silly, but also works really hard. And he's always had that element of play. And my great auntie, who I was very close to as well, was also really silly. And I think, like, it makes me me. I remember, like, I didn't really think about it in my MD role too much. But then I was doing a piece of work with Glower with a hairdresser who knew and works really closely with a lad that was at Social Chain. And Mario messaged Alan saying, if you get silly and Katie gets silly, you're not going to get any work done. That for me was the best testimonial I've ever received. Because I was like, yeah, you know me. Like, you can see me. And life's for living, right? We get to do, I always say, you get to do this once. You get to do this once. Why would I not squeeze as much as I can out of it for the sake of not monitoring whether I got my 8-9 hours sleep?
What's yours today? No.
Not great today because the heat wave and the dog, and trying to make sure that Fozzie stays alive in a heat wave.
On that note of today, let's talk about today's recordings. What people have got to look forward to for future episodes. Because we've got a few nice plans, haven't we?
Really lovely plans. So today so the way that we're doing it is we're in Mollies once a month and we do our episodes for the month. So today we've got conversations with a dietitian, which I'm fascinated about anyway, about like how do we make sure that we are performing at our best by giving ourselves the right tools and the right fuel. So that is great. And then
we can say the next one.
Yeah, we've got the sponsor, We Are the Allies, coming on, Pav, who's the co-founder, to talk. And I want to get into what she's noticing from a freelance market hiring point of view, and in the agency landscape. What's going on in the agency landscape? How fast is work moving? What is happening, where the freelancers are needed, what she's seeing in terms of skill sets that's needed. So I'm super excited about that. And then also chat to her about why she wanted to sponsor the podcast and a little bit on that. And then I've got one of my favourite humans coming on, Sarah. Sarah is an absolute force in the hairdressing world. She started out as a hairdresser, built her social media, and is absolutely obsessive about getting that right and growing it. And then now she's got her own salon for hairdressers. But I know Sarah's why. So I'm going to dig into that with her because I've known her for a little while now. And what you see on social is this sort of really loud, confident person. But I know Sarah's why. So that episode's going to be really good because I'm going to dig into that a little bit more to get that out of her. So yeah, it's going to be a really good month.
Lovely. I think we end this by asking the listeners, we want some questions for future guests, don't we? And I think we spoke the other day about putting up your stories have been great with the Q&As. You got some nice feedback and questions on that. But I think, should we say about putting up future guests, and we'll say who's on, and we can have that in future.
I think sharing as much as we can. I want this the whole purpose of this podcast is to help leaders, founders, people growing businesses with the challenges that are facing, and we can't do that in isolation. So the first thing I want to say is just a massive thank you for all of the comments, the feedback, the love, like bringing a podcast back after 4 years in a world where there are so many podcasts. It was a bit nerve-wracking, but I have been so thrilled with the reaction and the response to it that I just want to say a massive thank you. And then also, contribution-wise, please tell us who you want to see, what areas of interest you want to know, like what topics are you really struggling with, what would you like us to delve into, what questions do you want me to ask, what do you want to know about me, what do you want to know about Stefan, like what do you want to get out of this podcast? And I'll do that more on my Instagram stories because I think it'll make it so much better. Once again, I just want to say a massive thank you to Mollies for lending us this beautiful space to record in. It's honestly a dream, an absolute dream. And also to We Are the Allies for making this podcast possible. Like, we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. So thank you so much. And thank you for listening. And I will see you again next week.